Year 1692, the serene Puritan community of Salem, Massachusetts, spiraled into chaos as its inhabitants began accusing one another of practicing witchcraft, a tumultuous event now remembered as the Salem Witch Trials. This dark episode stands as the largest witch hunt in American history, raising the question, what sparked the Salem Witch Trials in the first place? Between 1692 and 1693, over 200 individuals faced accusations of witchcraft in Salem, resulting in the execution of 20 people. However, just as abruptly as the trials commenced, they abruptly ceased, and Salem regained its composure, moving forward with life. Since then, scholars have been captivated and confounded by the Salem Witch Trials, considering it one of the most perplexing chapters in American history. While many experts point to misogyny as a significant factor, given that most victims were women, it's crucial to note that some men also met their demise during these trials. Not even animals were spared, as at least 2 dogs were executed on charges of witchcraft. Thus, while gender bias played a role, it couldn't be the sole factor. So what truly triggered this once peaceful Puritan town to descend into a whirlwind of paranoia and persecution? In this video, we will explore some of the most prominent theories behind this enigmatic 400-year-old mystery. Welcome to the Screaming Room. The first theory we will explore posits that the hysteria gripping Salem in 1692 may have been influenced by the Native American Wars, particularly King Philip's War, which ravaged the colonies during the 1670s. Salem was not far from the front lines of this brutal conflict, and its aftermath had left an indelible mark on the region. The profound impact of the wars had cast a pervasive cloud of anxiety over the populace. Many residents lived in constant fear of potential attacks and raids from neighboring Native American tribes. Interestingly, some of the young girls who later accused women of bewitching them had themselves witnessed these traumatic raids prior to making their allegations. It's plausible that the trauma of these events contributed to post-traumatic stress, potentially playing a role in instigating these accusations. Furthermore, there's a belief that the Native American Wars may have influenced the trials in a different manner. Some suggest that the accusation and execution of the former minister, George Burroughs, who had led several unsuccessful military campaigns against the Native Americans, reflects an attempt by town officials to shift blame from their own inadequacies in defending the frontier onto supernatural explanations. In essence, they may have preferred to believe that the devil posed a threat rather than confronting their own vulnerabilities. While we often associate mass hysteria with the time when the Salem Witch Trials were unfolding, some have suggested that it might have played a role in triggering the trials themselves. There is an argument that the initial girls who claimed to be bewitched might have been experiencing mass hysteria. The stress of living in a rigid religious society on the perilous wilderness frontier could have led these girls to convert their anxiety into physical symptoms. Consequently, the hysteria experienced by these girls may have subsequently induced a shared delusion among the villagers, convincing them that witches were lurking in their midst. When a substantial portion of the community shared similar feelings, it could have set the stage for a full-fledged witch hunt. The witch trials commenced in early 1692 when 9-year-old Betty Paris and her 11-year-old cousin Abigail Williams began displaying peculiar behaviors. Their actions included hiding under furniture, uttering cries of pain, and occasionally even mimicking barking sounds. In response to this alarming behavior, Samuel Paris, Betty's father, sought the assistance of a physician to examine the girls. Since the doctor could find no physical ailments, it was concluded that the girls must have fallen victim to witchcraft. However, some sources propose an alternative explanation, suggesting that the girls' unusual conduct might have been rooted in boredom. With few other outlets for activity, they naturally gravitated toward superstitious practices. Consequently, some believe that their involvement in forbidden activities like fortune-telling, coupled with the guilt and fear associated with participating in them, may have been the true catalyst for their strange behaviors. The witch trials may have originated from the prevailing patriarchal oppression of that era. Certain feminist historians view the Salem Witch Trials as yet another manifestation of how the patriarchy persecuted women who deviated from the accepted societal norms of the time. Similar to many witch hunts in Europe, women were the primary targets of accusations during the Salem Witch Trials, particularly those who exhibited behavior considered unconventional for that period. Although the precise cause of the Salem Witch Trials remains a subject of debate, it is nearly indisputable that underlying social dynamics played a significant role. The most active period of witchcraft trials, predominantly in Europe, aligns with a 400-year stretch characterized by cooler temperatures, commonly referred to as the Little Ice Age. These colder temperatures led to more frequent crop failures, while the chillier seas hindered the migration of cod and other fish northward, depriving certain European regions of this essential food source. In the face of life-threatening shifts in weather patterns, people sought explanations and often looked for scapegoats. Notably, the year 1692 fell within a 50-year-long cold period, spanning from 1680 to 1730, lending credence to this theory. Furthermore, during this era, many individuals believed that witches possessed the ability to control the weather and disrupt crop growth. Consequently, when communities experienced poor harvests and adverse weather conditions, some may have attributed these hardships to the actions of witches. This last theory stems from the 1970s, when a truly wild theory about the cause of the Salem Witch Trials took off: hallucinogenic fungi. The fungus ergot can be found in rye and wheat under the right conditions. Known to cause convulsions, hallucinations, and pinching sensations, this fungus is now sometimes used to create LSD, but it may also offer an explanation for the symptoms of people who were bewitched in Salem. This theory posits that ergot poisoning may have caused the bizarre physical afflictions associated with being bewitched. After all, many of the symptoms of ergot poisoning were quite similar to what was happening to the girls. Interestingly enough, the weather conditions in Salem during the winter of 1691 to 1692 were just right for ergot to grow. Plus, studies on ergot poisoning have found that children are the most susceptible to its effects. Ultimately, we may never know for sure what caused the Salem Witch Trials, but there's no question that this strange piece of American history remains just as curious today as it was centuries ago. What do you think caused the Salem Witch Trials? Leave your opinions in the comments.